So did the New York Jets not learn anything from the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots Super Bowl? Did they really not learn that you need to run the ball when you're inside the 5-yard line on your goal line? Is that really what's going to take place here? Because the New York Jets had the ball first down on the 1-yard line on their second to last drive, which was a very big drive in this game. It pretty much almost decided the entire game. And they chose to try to outthink and be too pretty and throw the ball from that spot of the field on the 1-yard line. 3 tries you get at running the ball from the 1-yard line. And if you don't score on that, then there's bigger issues that you need to handle. But I think a lot of people would be more satisfied if you tried to run the ball 3 times and didn't get it than to do what they just did. I think they would. And because of that, the Minnesota Vikings beat the New York Jets 27-22, and the Minnesota Vikings get another close win. This is 9 of 10 for them in the one-score games this season. They had the Jets right where they wanted them, basically. But I think the biggest issue in this, because the Jets, I think, played well enough to win this game, the biggest issue was the red zone offense. New York Jets were 1 of 6 in the red zone in this game. 1 of 6. Only Mike White's quarterback sneak got him over. Every other time, it was Greg Zuerlein having to make a field goal. He was 5 of 5 from field goals today, and he scored 16 of the 22 points. 16, because he also had an extra point on the touchdown. But that was a really big issue, the red zone offense. And this is what Robert Saleh had to say about that.
But at the end of the day, it was just missed opportunities all over the place in the first half that we felt like if we could just play a little bit more efficient, we'll start moving the ball, we'll get our stops, and we can make it a game. Yeah, it's they were 3 for 3, we were 1 of 6. We were 1 of 3 in goal-to-goal situations. Can't win the game just kicking field goals.
You can't win a game kicking field goals in the NFL, especially against a very good team like the Minnesota Vikings. You can't do it. But I think what we need to do is look at Mike White's performance. Mike White was 31 of 57 for 369 yards and 2 interceptions in this game, along with his 1 rushing touchdown. Now, for those that didn't watch the game and are just going to look at the box score, I feel like they're going to go to prejudgment and say, oh, Zach Wilson should be the quarterback because Mike White's doing the same thing he did, 2 interceptions. If you actually watched the game and you actually saw what happened, Mike White was leading this Jets offense down the field on every single drive. But he couldn't punch it in was his only issue. Mike White's 2 interceptions was a deflection on the first drive of the game, but a deflection that the Minnesota Vikings just so happened to come down with, and an interception on the last drive of the game as he was trying to make a heroic play on 4th down with 10 seconds left in the game. And so I feel like I wouldn't say I want to negate the 2 interceptions, but the box score doesn't tell the whole story here. Mike White has played a very good game in this one, and I still think he is miles ahead of where Zach Wilson is right now. As of right now, he's miles ahead of him. But the one issue from Mike White's performance, and I think it's more of a coaching deal than his own, is they had 57 passes in this game. 57 passes from Mike White in this one. And that just shows that I think the coach staff either got too pass happy with a quarterback that can actually make these throws, or they were trying to overcompensate for being down 20-6 at halftime, which you could say is the case. But if they had Breece Hall, do you think they're not running the ball on the 1-yard line? Do you think they're being so pass happy in that second half if they have him? But the matter of the fact is they were down 20-6 at half. And this is what Robert Saleh had to say about the 57 passes that Mike White put up today.
You never want to have that. Obviously, we're playing catch up, especially on the last 2 drives. I think we had about 20. It felt like 20 passes there, but either way, it's I felt like the run game was good in spurts. We couldn't punch it in when we tried to, but you never want to throw that much. But at the same time, sometimes that's what it calls for.
For those that want Zach Wilson back as the quarterback after that performance from Mike White, I guess just because you didn't look at the game the right way. For those that you still want Zach Wilson, what makes you think he's going to be any better at this point in the season? The reason you took out Mike White, the reason you took out Zach Wilson and brought in Mike White is for Zach Wilson to have a reset, is what Coach Robert said. You wanted Zach Wilson to reset. Basically, learn the game again, learn how to deal with situations because he has great arm talent. He's always had great arm talent. He can make the throws when needed too. But he needs to play better in certain situations, like against New England Patriots and what the type of schemes and zones they bring against him. And so having him on the sideline with Joe Flacco being his mentor, basically, and just pointing out different things that are happening on the field, can work wonders for Zach Wilson. But as of right now, Mike White needs to be your guy going forward. This game just proved he can run this offense. It's just going to come down to some coaching schematics to score in the red zone, get more runs, and get an early lead instead of being behind with your great defense. The red zone issue is the biggest issue right now. And then Mike White went and said it as well.
I think for the most part, when you lose a game, you do have a sense of what the reasoning was. And today was just glaring. And like I said earlier, it starts with me. It's gotta figure out a way to get in there. I don't know what it is. I'll watch the tape, get with our coaches and learn from it and correct it. But yeah, just not let the same mistakes happen twice and learn from this and move forward.
Now, the rest of the Jets schedule, they got the Bills coming up. Then they got the Lions, Jaguars, Seahawks, and Dolphins. Okay? So Mike White got to play against the Chicago Bears and had his breakout game against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And I have always thought since that moment, because I thought that was a tune-up game for Mike White, that he was going to be guaranteed at least the next 3 games, which was the Vikings in this one, the Bills, and the Lions. Now, only reason I thought that he would get benched is, like I said, the 5 interception game, or if he played bad in all 3 of those games against the Vikings, the Bills, and the Lions. That's the only way I thought that you would need to move on from Mike White. He didn't do that in this Vikings game, so he's already off to a good start. If he plays well against the Bills and the Jets, either get a win or lose by a very close margin, it's a lock for the rest of the year. It's a lock. He needs to go going forward. But if he does get moved, I don't think Zach Wilson is the guy to bring in. If he does get moved, you got to bring in Joe Flacco, because there's no reason to try to make a quarterback change this late in the year into the playoffs and try to put a guy that's never been there before in that situation. Okay, at least Joe Flacco has playoff experience. But the biggest takeaways from this game was the red zone. The biggest takeaway was the third down conversions. They was 3 of 16 on third down. And they really missed Breece Hall. I think they would be fine if they had Breece Hall still here. They're fine now. I mean, they lost to a very good team. It's not like they lost to some bum. They're fine now. So the overreactions are the overreactions. But I do think Mike White's performance in this one proves he needs to be the guy going forward. I think it does. Thanks for watching this video. If you made it this far, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, I have a podcast called Rip Jersey. Follow that, add it to your playlist. Listen to it wherever you can. Thanks for watching again. Peace.